What's up, guys? Janey Brown here with Under Armour to share my keynote today from Fear to Fearce. I just said to you what we need is the proper tools and the resources so that we can build resilience to create the show that we want to create. And one of those tools is mental health education. That's what I want to start with. So apart from me being like a really driven person, some people might call like stubborn, why would it have taken me 15 years to get help? Like that seems pretty crazy, right? Why was it so hard to get treatment? This is a big reason. And this exists in every industry, everywhere. So what I'm about to share with you in terms of the beliefs of my industry, the performance industry, absolutely apply in the sports industry and the wellness industry. So stigmatized beliefs are based on shame and lies and fear. And what happens with that is there's a lack of education that occurs. So the stigma prevents education, which then prevents the ability to support within the community. And in the performance community, one of the major beliefs around fear and anxiety is that fear is unacceptable. So if you're too afraid to get on stage, then get off. Someone else will just take your spot. Or like you're not in the right industry, you just weren't built for this, which is ridiculous. We are human, we all have fear. That is what it means to be human. So what could have been said is, hey, let's look at the relationship you have with the thing you're afraid of. Let's build resilience and courage so that you can work with the fear and get back out there and do your job even better, right? But that's sort of the belief, is that fear is a weakness and fear is wrong. The next belief was that butterflies and vampire bats are the same thing. In other words, stress and anxiety are the same thing, or there's no difference. People used to say, well, you're a performer, it's just part of it. It's just butterflies, like everybody has that, right? But butterflies are healthy stress. Butterflies is what I had today when I came on to talk to all of you. It's something that you feel stressed about. But when it comes to anxiety, when the butterflies turn into tiny vampire bats with machetes inside of your belly, that's when it becomes anxiety. And that prolonged or long-term is chronic stress. And I think a room full of wellness professionals understand what chronic stress can do, i.e. what happened to me, right? It didn't just damage my voice, it damaged my ability to have healthy attachments and relationships, and then it also created physical harm, right? So long-term chronic stress is very, very dangerous and deadly. The notion was sort of like, it's just stress that's part of performing, and so I thought my anxiety was normal. Anxiety is when you become the stress. Stress is you're stressed about something, anxiety is the thing. You are stress. There is a huge difference there. Same with sadness and depression. So the lack of education around what's the difference between healthy stress and not healthy stress, and how do we both cope with the healthy stress and with the non-healthy stress, right? That was missing. This one's a big one. Deception of perception. In my industry, performing well equaled success. I don't know about you, but I'm pretty sure it's like that in the sports industry as well. It doesn't really matter what goes on behind the scenes. If you perform well, you've done your job and that's successful. Performance anxiety manifests in two ways, okay? Well, there's more ways, but I'm gonna give you two core ways. You have this fear and you didn't manage it, and you go into your performance environment and you fail in some way, like according to you or your adjudicator. And you get out of that performance environment and you're like, oh my God, like I need to do something about my fear to make sure that I never let my fear hold me back again. So you, I don't know, come up with some strategies or get a coach to help you with that fear and you move on with your life. Or you pivot and you're like, you know what? I don't really want to expose my soul to a sea of 1,000 eyes every single night. I'm gonna go play basketball. Also fair. But either way, you've made the decision to do something about your fear. The other route that happens is that performance anxiety or fear is there. You get on stage or you get into your environment and you crush it and you just feel like hell before and after. And I was the latter. And so what motive, if that equation is true, performing well equaled success, then what motive would I have to change my fear if I was crushing it all the time? And it's the same in the sports industry. So What's missing from this equation is that performing well equals success, but it doesn't necessarily equal happiness. Let me be real. Unhealthiness, anything that leaves you unhealthy, is probably going to leave you unhappy, which is not successful. When I was in my record deal with a Grammy Award-winning producer, I was getting flown around North America, getting my music paid for, fancy, fancy, fancy. Right? I also worked 3 jobs, basically had no friends, had anxiety every day, and was getting told what to write, how to sing in my recording sessions, what to wear, and what I could and couldn't say in interviews. For the people that know me in the audience, I don't like to be told what to do ever for any reason by anyone. Okay, so being in a record deal equaling success, I don't even know how that got past me, right? We have this ideology that success is going to make us feel good. But that's not necessarily the case. Because if we have to bend ourselves over backwards to get the success, we probably have to keep ourselves bent over backwards to stay there. In other words, if you have to manipulate your situation or contort yourself to get something, you'll probably have to manipulate your situation or contort yourself to keep it, and that doesn't feel good. That's not your authentic self, okay? So I implore you to ask yourself, are you able to cater to your goals and your health at the same time? I'm not asking you if when you achieve your goals, right, or when you're on your way to achieving your goals, if you smell good, or if you look good, or if your wallet is fat. I'm asking you if you genuinely feel good inside, and that's definitely something for you to know. It's the same with our workouts. Did you complete the 100 burpees just to get that 100 score on your belt, but really your shoulder feels like it's going to fall off? Maybe not so healthy. I'm not saying that we don't have workouts where we're struggling to do the workout and we don't want to do it and we do it anyway. I mean, we're going to have days where we do things that we don't want to do, but at the expense of your health? Question mark? Right? That's what I'm trying to get you to ask yourself. The third belief, by far the most dangerous, is stereotypes. I lead mental health trainings in North America with my colleague who's a psychotherapist in Orlando. And we ask our students, what does mental illness look like? And when we ask this question, almost 100% of them come up with stuff like this. Common responses are homeless, sad, low income, disheveled, greasy hair, can't get out of bed, dark room, etc., etc. Now, those attributes connect to mental illness for sure. That is real. But it's not the whole picture, because mental illness doesn't have a profile. Mental illness can look like the CEO crushing it in her wellness business and privately struggling with depression. Mental illness can look like the athlete signing autographs and smiling for pictures and silently struggling with bipolar. Mental illness can look like the person on stage speaking or singing without a care in the world and privately struggling with long-term effects of trauma. Mental illness has no profile. It's a continuum. It can happen to any single one of us at any time, predicated on our circumstances. So it is dangerous to miss that, because if someone comes up to you and says, I think I'm struggling, and they don't fit your definition, you could miss that and say something that hurts them even more. I did try to reach out a few times. I did try to say, you know what, I just don't think I don't think this is normal. I don't feel okay. And the response I would get is, what do you have to be upset about? Look at you. Like, the soundtrack of your life is an applause. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps and get out there. Stop being ungrateful. There's so many people that would kill to be in your shoes. That type of invalidation is going to keep someone silent for a long time, and it did me. And I don't tell you that to make you feel sorry for me, because I don't feel sorry for me. I feel lucky. I made it out alive, and I have friends who didn't. I tell you this to ask yourself again, what type of stigmatizing beliefs are you carrying? And there's no shame in it, right? It's the system of stigma that has instilled these beliefs inside of us, and we all carry them in one way or another. I was the one with anxiety, and I still had stigma around it. So what stigmatizing beliefs are you carrying, and how can you further educate yourself so that you can support your community, your clients, your loved ones, and you. Stigma exists everywhere. Everywhere. Coaches teach this to their athletes. Parents teach this to their children. We teach this to each other. And it ends here if you commit to educating yourself in mental health.